From the early years of my childhood, I always felt that I lacked a voice. Always the kid in the back of the class, always the quiet guy, too scared to say much. I never felt like I could or even should have a voice.
It was definitely tough for me growing up just because I felt like I didn't have a voice. I really didn't even know how to talk to people. I was probably the most awkward guy you can imagine in high school, and I still kind of am.
Once I got to college, I thought I had changed from who I was in high school, a new environment. I finally felt like I had a good group of friends and felt I was finally finding my way in the world. It was great.
And then all of a sudden, and then poof, gone. Just like that.
I think the best way I could put the pandemic is a deep, dark pit. All that great stuff I built in freshman year disintegrated for one reason or another. Sophomore year, I was living by myself. I couldn't go out because of COVID, and all my classes were online. It was a tough time.
I think that fall semester of my sophomore year was probably the loneliest point I think I've ever had in my entire life. I felt like it was in that moment that I realized I needed people in my life way more than I thought I did.
I was looking for just any way I could talk to people in any capacity I could, and then one of my professors, they announced a brand new show, the Al Sports Update Sports Brief.
And for one of the shows, they reached out to me. They asked if I was interested in anchoring, and I was like, dude, you're crazy. You wouldn't catch me dead being in front of the camera, at least back then. But it was in that moment that I realized just how lonely I was in that moment and that this was a way to connect with people. So I took a chance.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this Al Sports Update Sports Brief. I'm Matt Rineer.
After that first time I was on air, it made me realize what I had the potential to do, and after that first show, I was all in. I started being more involved with Al Sports Update. First started filming and editing for them before making my first ever package for the show back in the spring of 2021. And, my goal ultimately was to be one of the show's full-time anchors. I credit Jackson Neal, Luke Meadlight, and Lindsay Mopper. Those three were my main source of inspiration.
Just seeing those guys on camera and on the desk, how they worked, it just made me want to be like them, reach the heights that they had reached, maybe even further. And it took a lot of pestering and a lot of hard work, but eventually I got the job.
Al Sports Update is live, and it starts right now.
When I look back at when I first got to Temple compared to now, it's just a shock how much I've grown. Sometimes I still have a hard time believing it. Going from a kid that couldn't even have a conversation with someone to being one of the voices for Al Sports Update, it's utterly crazy. I'm not really sure what the future has in store for me, but I know one thing's for sure. Matt Rineer is going to keep using his voice.